People are asking, what is Judo Law? Judo is a martial art that uses the opponent's strength to defeat them by not opposing it directly. Gary C. Johnson created a method of practicing law based upon that principle. It worked so well, he named it Judo Law. To see the results, go to GaryCJohnson.com. To have Gary and his team of judo lawyers go to work for you, dial pound HURT. This is an advertisement.
If you're hurt, injured, don't waste time. Gary Johnson tries for every dime.
Welcome to Simply the Law, a program created by attorney Gary C. Johnson. Simply the Law provides free legal advice and encourages happiness and quality of life. Now, here's Simply the Law with Gary C. Johnson.
Hello, everyone. Welcome into Simply the Law. I'm Keith Casebolt. Happy New Year, my friend Gary C. Johnson.
Did you make any resolutions?
Oh, did I? The list is about...
How many have you broke already?
Oh, have I?
The list is down
The
to
list
about
is
this
down.
now, right?
Yeah, I'm down to about 3 or 4 left, but good intentions.
A few years ago, Keith and I said, let's make this our 25th annual resolution to lose weight.
Yes. Every year.
For the last 25 years, we made this annual resolution. We were going to lose our excess weight.
Yep.
Maybe we should do it again this year, Keith. Who knows? Who knows?
We'd get fired up about it, and we'd lay out all these plans. Going to the Y, going to do this, going to do that, and boy, it's tough.
How you folks doing, by the way? I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for spending some time with me and Keith. We thoroughly enjoying our time here. This is the best time of the week for me, is doing this show. I don't know why, but I just feel good about being able to be with you guys. So thank you so much for being with us. You have so many choices. You could click us off anytime you want to, right?
You know, Gary, I got to tell you, too, thanks to those people who come up to Gary or me and say, hey, I watched this episode or I listened to this episode on the radio. I talked with a gentleman over the weekend, and he was telling me about one of the programs, and some things were said that he needed to hear at that time because he had some health issues. And I thought, wow, for our friends to come up and say that they're listening or watching or that they're giving their time to, enjoy this program, it means a lot.
As Keith was talking, it hit me right here that one of my friends out there, or maybe more of you, are feeling really sad right now because you've lost a loved one. No question about it. I know it because it hit me like a ton of bricks as Keith was talking. I just want to say one thing to you that might make it a little bit easier, and I've said it before on this program, but maybe I need to repeat it. Life is in a balance. You have joy, you have sorrow. The amount of the sorrow you're feeling is exactly equal to the joy that you had from having the person in your life. The greater the sorrow, the greater the joy. Try to understand your sorrow in that sense. And I think you will find it's easier for you to accept it. And maybe even say, this may not be bad that I'm having all this sorrow, because if I hadn't had the joy, I would not have the sorrow.
You know, my friend, when you first told me that, as always, I'm a little slow to come around to understanding Gary's teachings. But after I realized what you were saying, I thought about people that I'd lost in my life, that I had cried over and that I grieved over. And then I realized those were the same people that I would tell stories about, that we had done things together, or I would have people laughing about, events that had taken place. And it dawned on me what you were trying to teach me. No wonder I was so sad and grieved over this individual, because they bought this place in my life of memories and great times.
That's right. That's the fact. The other thing is, about the middle of the week, it hit me that maybe, and more likely than not, one of my friends that watched this show has just been through a failure. So I want to explain to you a little bit about failure, my friend, because I know you're out there and I know you're watching, okay? And I want to give you an example of why it may be insignificant, even though you're saying you're crazy, Gary. Okay? I'm going to talk to you about it. It's in this little book, Money Follows Excellence, by Bill Lamb. Okay? Let me read to you a little bit about failure so you'll take it in perspective. Okay? It's important to create an environment where failure is acknowledged as an important part of the success process. It is equally important to recognize that when failure occurs, persistence must be applied lavishly. Example, Abraham Lincoln. All of you probably have heard about Abraham Lincoln, right? If you ever doubt the power of persistence in overcoming failure, think of Abraham Lincoln. The great president probably knew more about failure and applied more persistence to it than we will ever hope to experience. In 1816, his family was forced out of their home and he had to work to support them. He couldn't go off to school. 1831, his business failed. 1832, he ran for state legislature and lost. 1832, he lost his job and wanted to go to law school, but couldn't get in. 1832, he entered the Black Hawk War as a captain. By the time the war had ended, he had been demoted to private. Think about that. He goes in as a captain, this is 1832. 1833, he borrowed some money from a friend to begin a business. By the end of the year, he was bankrupt. He spent the next 17 years of his life paying off his debt. 1834, he ran for state legislature again. This time he won. 1835, he was engaged to be married, but his sweetheart died and his heart was broken. 1836, he had a total nervous breakdown and was in bed for 6 months and worrying. 1838, he sought to become Speaker of the state legislature, but was defeated. 1840, he sought to become elector, but was defeated. 1843, he ran for Congress and lost. 1846, he ran for Congress again. This time he won, went to Washington and did a real good job. 1848, he ran for re-election for Congress and lost. 1849, he sought the job of land officer in his home state, but rejected. They wouldn't hire him. 1854, he ran for Senate of the United States and lost. 1856, he sought the vice presidential nomination at his party's national convention, but got less than 100 total votes, okay? In 1858, he ran for the U.S. Senate again and lost again. 1860, he was elected President of the United States and widely thought to be the greatest president we have ever had. Now think about that. So I want you to put your failure that you just went through in perspective, okay? Persistence.
That is fascinating because the whole time you're reading that list of all the failures, I'm sitting over here thinking, I'd been out a long time ago. I mean, I would have said, this is a jinx of a life. I mean, how many times could one individual be told no? And I was sitting there thinking, at what point would I have quit and thrown in the towel? It would have been early on. I would have never made it to where he made it.
But he didn't give up, and he went on to accomplish wonderful, great things for this country. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
Boy, doesn't that make you think about the upcoming new year and the first little speed bump or roadblock that comes your way? You're going to throw in the towel? Abraham Lincoln didn't. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Gary C. Johnson and Simply the Law after this.
I'm Gary C. Johnson. I developed a method of representing my clients called Judo Law. Using Judo Law, our team set the record for the largest personal injury verdict in the state of Kentucky. No other law firm has even come close. We've had several multi-million-dollar verdicts since then, and guess what? Now, most of our cases settle. If you've been hurt and you need money fast, give us a call, pound hurt.
Welcome back into Simply the Law. You know, during the break, I was thinking about what you just read about President Lincoln. He had plenty of things that he could have dwelled on. He had all kinds of excuses. Hey, my fiance passed away. How can I think about doing anything else? I was told no by my own home state. I did a good job at Congress. They voted me out. This guy had all kinds of ammunition as to say why he could never do nothing else, but he didn't use any of it. He just kept bullheaded, I guess, moving forward.
Could be he didn't have enough sense to quit.
Maybe.
But it wasn't that. He was just a great man, and he was going to do great things. He just had to convince a few other people to let him do it. That's all. My friend, that's just gone through the failure. You're going to do great things. Don't let it get you down. When in doubt, go forward. Okay, let's go to the computer. I got some stuff. I may actually talk to you a little bit about the law. Who knows? This is simply the law, right?
We do have the title, but
there's a number in case you need to reach us. I'm in Lexington. And as I said last time, we practice basically all over the state of Kentucky. I try not to go out of state if I can, because I know Kentucky pretty well. GaryCJohnson.com if you need to reach us. In general, please make sure you have your underinsurance, UNDER, that protects you and your family.
Over the weekend, I watched a lot of television, and I noticed this one ad that kept popping up over and over. Only sell you what you need. Only sell you what you need. And I thought about you pulling up this underinsurance and trying to tell people the benefits of it, and the quick question popped in my head. I wonder, is underinsurance on that list of only selling you what you need? I'd bet it's not.
You can bet your life it's not, okay? Mm-hmm. No, they won't sell you underinsurance unless you ask for it. In fact, most of the time you have to demand it because it's such a good deal. Okay, let's go back to computer. Got some stuff I want to talk to you folks about. Local lawyers, and I want you to think about this. They live and work in this community. The money they make stays in this community, it circulates in the community, and it is a benefit to the entire community. When considering hiring a lawyer, ask yourself if the money the lawyer makes will stay in this community or will it go to another state? i.e., will it end up in Orlando, Florida? Good question, right?
Good question.
Just because a large law firm can buy and pay for slick advertising does not make them better lawyers. It's a business that they are running, multi-state business, and it is extremely difficult. It's like I just said a minute ago to you folks, I want to talk to you about this. We try to stay within the bounds of the state of Kentucky in our representation of people. And there's a reason for that. Every state has different laws. Every state is immensely different in how they do business and how it works. We are subject to the Bar Association, the ethic rules in Kentucky. Mm-hmm. I do not want to be a national firm. Oh, years ago, I was foolish enough to think I could do that. I even had a jet. Would you believe that? Huh? And I realized that I couldn't represent the clients. I could not do the job I needed to do for my clients if I didn't keep it within the framework of where I could actually do the best for them. So I decided to limit my practice to the state of Kentucky, period.
Gary, there's something that surprised me a couple of years ago because I didn't understand it, and maybe some of our friends don't know this. But there are different laws in each state. So the things that you know about Kentucky may not apply to North Carolina or other states because they have different laws.
Oh, they are really different. Major difference. But it's not just that. lawyers that do the type of work I do, they charge a percentage of the recovery. That percentage, if it stays within the local community, it will help the local businesses, it will help the local car dealers, it helps everybody, and that way we have an economy. Whereas if you have out-of-state firms come in, represent a client, get that money, and take it out of state, no benefit comes to this community. Period. Zero.
So if you have a case in Lexington and you call an attorney, do they answer that phone in Lexington? If you're in Eastern Kentucky, do you answer it in Eastern Kentucky? If you're in Louisville, do you answer it in Louisville? If it's being answered 5 states away, you may have a problem.
Next time you decide to call a lawyer, if you want to call one, ask them, the person answering it, where are you located? That'll tell you a lot, okay? Because it's not a business. Law is not a business, it is a profession. And it is a profession that was designed to represent individual people, solve and do something about their problems. It is not a Walmart.
So you're basically telling us you're not trying to take 1 million calls because that would be impossible.
I couldn't handle 1 million calls. I don't want 1 million calls. I could never, ever, and I've seen advertisements, we took 1 million calls last year. What did they do with them?
Yeah.
How did they represent 1 million people? They said, well, we have 500 lawyers. Well, you divide that out, that's going to give each lawyer maybe 1,000 cases that they have to handle.
No way that you can give the individual attention that you need to do.
It's not and I keep emphasizing to you, my friends, it is not a business. Let's take a break. We'll be right back. I got some more stuff on the computer I want to talk to you about.
Very good point that I hadn't thought about. Stay with us. Gary C. Johnson and Simply the Law coming back after you see this. Eastern Kentucky, Southern West Virginia, and Southwest Virginia. It can be a tough territory to reach when it comes to marketing. We can help. We can also help you find your identification. And we have plenty of services to do it and a lot of experience behind us, over 37 years. In fact, we've either booked or sold nearly $70 million in advertising in this region. You need a new voice, a new idea, a new concept? Casebolt Marketing. We're ready to go to work for you today. Our motto is nothing happens until you make it happen. So let's get started today. Welcome back into Simply the Law. I was kind of sitting over here listening to you talk, and I was thinking, this all makes sense. A great artist, to turn out a masterpiece, has to take time to put into that. You're not turning out 20 paintings in an hour or something like that because that's not doing the job.
If you're doing it just as a business, it is.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, back to computer. Breaking even. How do you break even in a lawsuit, my friends? Well, I'm going to talk to you about this because most people don't know what I'm getting ready to explain to you. What damages can be recovered in a trial? Okay? Medical bills. Okay, now let's assume that there's $100,000 in medical bills that has to be paid back to the insurance company that may have paid your medical bills, okay? The insurance has paid $50,000 to satisfy the bill, okay? So that $50,000 goes back to the insurance company. That's going to leave you $50,000, maybe. The insurance company has a lien for the $50,000. The attorney fee will be equal to 40% or $40,000 of the $100,000 in medical bills, okay? Assuming you've tried this case.
Now, but let's say something here for our friends that are saying, well, there's a problem. Well, the problem is no one would settle. You had to go get the attorney.
And this is a case that would be tried.
Yeah, you
That's
had
why
to do
it would be 40%.
Okay.
And that means it's dog-eat-dog world out there. Guess what? There's only $10,000 left. But in Kentucky, there's a $10,000 offset for personal injury protection that the individual cannot recover. So, out of recovering allegedly $100,000 in medical bills, the client gets zero.
Now that's going to
Now,
be
the jury
shocking.
says, okay, we've given them $100,000 here, but when it's all said and done, the person gets nothing. Now, how do they get anything? So to break even, the individual must recover the entire $100,000, even though the actual payment for medical bill was $50,000, right? Break even. That's just to break even. Now, a lot of states will only allow the person to recover the actual payment for the medical bills by the insurance company, so it's impossible in those states for them to ever break even. But in Kentucky, we're still okay. Now, lost wages. They can recover those. Assume there's $100,000 in lost wages. What happens there? The individual must recover the entire $100,000 to break even, because attorney fees will be equal to or greater than the amount of taxes that would have been paid. The only way that a client in a jury trial, and this is the point I want to make to you folks, that they can break even is through pain and suffering. And a jury may say, okay, we're going to give them their medical bills and we're going to give them their lost wages in a verdict, and therefore they should not get anything for pain and suffering. Well, what I'm saying to you folks is that is really bad, because the person cannot get anything for themselves unless a jury gives them an award of pain and suffering.
So if I've got you right on this, you just showed us an example that we had $100,000 that went to the medical and to the attorney, and then we had lost wages, and you had the taxes. Here this individual has been injured at no fault of their own, and they've got almost $200,000, but they've got no money.
What I've seen juries do is say, okay, they've got $100,000 in lost wages, but they would have had to pay taxes on that. So we're only going to give them $65,000 of that $100,000 in lost wages. Therefore, the person doesn't even break even on his lost wages after all the other expenses are paid.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? That's the point I was trying to make there.
And I know we've got some people watching this saying, you mean to tell me people can actually go in with a case where they 100% have been wronged, get the money, and come out on the losing end of it?
Happens every day. And the only way to keep them from ending up on the losing end is through pain and suffering. That's why the law recognizes it and allows it. Let's go back to the computer. They had the emotional strain of going through the lawsuit, which is tremendous. Anybody that's ever been in one knows what I'm talking about. Days of going to the doctor just to try to recover from serious injuries. The stress of having no income, waiting for a trial. The physical pain and mental anguish suffered from the actual injuries themselves. Pain and suffering damages are the only way that an individual that is forced to file a lawsuit by the insurance company can break even. So my friends, I want you to understand that and know it. It is important. The lawsuit is brought against the individual that caused the harm, is defended, and any money will be paid from that person's insurance company. In my experience, if there's no insurance, there's no lawsuit, and the person harmed suffers the entire loss. The end.
I'm looking at all of that, and I even saw it the other day on my favorite old Andy Griffith show. They had this greedy lawyer coming in and was trying to get something for nothing. So here is people out here telling, oh, everybody is doing this, and you're showing us on a daily basis that good, hardworking men and women have been injured, and they're coming out of it still with the injury, but they've lost everything they have.
See it happen all the time. Here's the thing about it. We don't cause accidents, lawyers don't. We don't cause wrecks, period. We don't cause the insurance company to not pay what they should pay. That's the choice of the insurance company. Most people, many people, would never file a lawsuit. Insurance companies know this. They have statistics on everything. They have statistics on how long they can drag a lawsuit out to lower the amount of money they're going to have to pay at a settlement. There's statistics on this. It's business. You have to have a lawyer. You have to have, there's no question about it. But the point I'm trying to make on this program is there's a reason why people are allowed to recover for the misery they go through in a lawsuit. It is their opportunity to break even and to maybe get a little something for themselves, which, my God, they should have. Okay?
You know, that you said one time on the program, and it shocked me. You said, if the insurance companies would do the right thing, I could be out of business tomorrow. But if they would step up and take care of the individual who's paid these premiums and do the right thing, there would be no need for Gary C. Johnson.
You want to put plaintiffs' lawyers out of business? Get the insurance company to do what they're supposed to. Get them to start paying. It's easy. They come in, they assess a person's damages, they write them a check for what's going on. Instead, what does the insurance company do? We got a case going on right now where that there was absolutely no question who caused the wreck. They have done an autopsy on my client's car, the insurance company has, before they'd even pay for it. To try to find some way that they could say, well, it's not our fault, or you somehow contributed to it.
Or, yeah, we could pay you less.
Yeah, to pay less, yeah.
You know,
drag it out, pay less.
As you said that, to me it almost seems like it should be criminal to drag someone out because this individual's coming to you saying, Gary, I can't hold on anymore. I've lost my job. I'm injured. I can't pay the house payment. I'll do whatever. I just want to close it.
That's right.
That's not fair.
It's business. It may not be fair, but it's business.
And that's the sad fact. So, you know, you always used to say, the lawyer you choose makes a difference.
Big difference.
Well, my friend, welcome to this new year. We've got a lot of good things to think about, and poor old Abraham Lincoln, look, if he could overcome all of that adversary, hopefully we can overcome ours. On behalf of Gary C. Johnson, I'm Keith Casebolt. Thank you so much for taking this time to tune in with us. Happy New Year, and as always, Gary and I look forward to seeing you again next week at the same time.
Thank you for watching Simply the Law, a program created by Gary C. Johnson. Until next week, may you be safe, blessed, and happy.
People are asking, what is Judo Law? Judo is a martial art that uses the opponent's strength to defeat them by not opposing it directly. Gary C. Johnson created a method of practicing law based upon that principle. It worked so well, he named it Judo Law. To see the results, go to GaryCJohnson.com. To have Gary and his team of judo lawyers go to work for you, dial #HURT. This is an advertisement.